This is your sanctuary, your gaming haven, where every explosion, every gunshot, and every victory is felt in the depths of your soul. But amidst the adrenaline rushes and epic battles, there is a silent threat lurking, and that's one that could rob you of the very existence of your gaming experience, your hearing. And did you know that if you continue down this path, you may well find yourself reaching for hearing aids far sooner than you expected? So keep watching, because today I'll be telling you if your ears are likely to be affected, what you can do to prevent damaging them, plus what to do if you're already experiencing hearing loss or tinnitus. Gaming isn't just big, it's absolutely colossal. And this next figure blew my mind when I first heard it. There are an estimated 3.6 billion gamers worldwide, 3.6 billion, which is almost half of the world's population. Now, to be fair, this figure does include all different types of gaming, from casually playing on your smartphone to the more serious of you out there too. And today's video is all about the latter, with approximately 1.8 billion of gamers being PC players, 151 million game on a PlayStation, 63 on the Xbox, and then 87 million on Nintendo. So I'm particularly curious about you watching this video right now. What do you play on? And do you have worries about your hearing? Or have you ever experienced tinnitus? Let me know in the comments beneath this video. So the big question is, are you, or more importantly, more appropriately, are your ears in danger? Now, it doesn't matter whether you're wearing a pair of Audi's Maxwell wireless headphones, or perhaps you're sporting the Logitech G Pro X2 Lightspeeds. They will both give you that incredible feeling that you're in another world. But what is the cost of this? Headphones today can reach volumes well over 100 decibels, which is the equivalent of being at a rock concert or using a chainsaw. And impulse sounds, such as explosions or gunfire, have even been monitored reaching levels up to 119 decibels, which, I kid you not, is the same volume as standing next to a jet plane. Now, I'm not here to lecture you on looking after your ears. Well, I suppose I am here to lecture you on looking after your ears. But as someone who knows firsthand the perils of noise-induced hearing loss, you'll want to know what I've got to say next. Listen, I get it. It feels incredible when your whole body shakes at the feeling of that bass. But just hear me out for a second. According to the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, a staggering 15% of Americans aged between 20 to 69 already suffer with hearing loss due to exposure to loud sounds. And guess what? Gaming headphones can reach decibel levels that far exceed safety thresholds. But fear not, knowledge is power. You see, the danger doesn't just lie in the volume, but also the duration that you're exposed to these sounds to. In the UK, the safe threshold stands at 85 decibels with an 8-hour exposure limit. But for every 3 decibels above this threshold, you halve the safe exposure time. So if your gaming headphones hit 100 decibels, technically, you can only wear them for 15 minutes before they'll start to damage your ears. So what damage is likely to occur if you don't heed either my warnings or those from the recent British Medical Journal article, who did a systematic review of the evidence involving 50,000 people and have highlighted a minimum of 2 life-changing conditions that you can experience with a noise-induced hearing loss. So number 1 is tinnitus, which is often described as a constant ringing, buzzing, or humming sound which appears in either your ears or somewhere inside your head. And it isn't being produced by something in the external world. Now, I personally experienced tinnitus. For me, it's there 24/7, and it sounds something like this. Now, you may have experienced this after a long night out partying or a mammoth gaming session. And if you have, it's an early warning sign that you've done a little bit of damage to your ears. Now, depending on the volume and the duration of the sound that you're exposed to, it may or it may not recover. However, it will only do that a certain number of times. Tinnitus can vary from a low-pitched roar to a high-pitched squeal, and you may hear it in one or both ears. It's often more noticeable in quiet environments, and you'll be more aware of it at night when you're trying to get yourself to sleep. In the long term, those that can experience tinnitus may well have difficulty concentrating and sleeping. And I'm not joking that it can significantly impact your quality of life. And the ridiculous thing is, this is 100% avoidable. which I'll come on to how you can do this shortly. The second condition that you're putting yourself in danger with these high volume levels is a noise-induced hearing loss. Now, there's a reason that when you walk past a building site, the builders are all wearing hearing protection, and the levels that they're being exposed to are similar to those that you're experiencing through your gaming headphones. Now, a noise-induced hearing loss is actually pretty deceptive, as your ability to hear low tones isn't likely to change, and these sounds represent the presence of a word. However, the damage affects your ability to hear the higher frequencies, which are the important parts of speech for clarity, detail, and distinction. And if they're missing, it will begin to sound like you're talking to somebody through a wall. The sound of speech will be muffled and not as clear as it used to be. So yes, you'll be able to hear people speaking. However, distinguishing words will become particularly challenging. In fact, rather than me telling you how it will sound, why don't I demonstrate for you? Listen to these two clips. The first is a passage played with normal hearing.
The forks belong in the left drawer, not this one.
Sorry, dear. My mind is somewhere else.
Yes, I've noticed, honey. Can I do anything for you?
And the second demonstrates what it should be like to hear with a noise-induced hearing loss.
The forks belong in the left drawer, not this one.
Sorry, dear. My mind is somewhere else.
Yes, I've noticed, honey. Can I do anything for you?
And therefore, as a result of this kind of hearing loss, conversations, especially in a noisy environment, can be particularly difficult to understand. And simply put, if you go down this path, you'll be wearing a hearing aid in no time. And just to reiterate again, it is 100% avoidable. So what is my best advice today? Of course, there is no way that I'm going to suggest that you stop gaming, but I do have 3 simple tips to help you protect your hearing whilst you are. Firstly, I would consider embracing the 60-60 rule, which is essentially a guideline that recommends limiting your exposure to 60% of the maximum volume for no longer than 60 minutes per day, aiming to limit both the volume and duration of exposure that we were talking about earlier on in this video. Ideally, this should bring the volume down to below 85 decibels. Secondly, if you're thinking, but wait, Matthew, I'm a pro e-gamer and there's no way that I'll be limiting my playing to 1 hour. Even the most hardcore gamers need a breather. Rest for 15 to 20 minutes every hour to give your ears a well-deserved break. And then lastly, invest in a decent set of noise-cancelling headphones to drown out any external distractions without you having to crank up the volume. Trust me, your ears will thank you later. Now, if you do think that you've got some level of hearing loss, here is another fun video which will test the highest pitch sounds that you're able to hear.